What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about The Last of Us, Daryl Dixon. Or at least what it seems to be. So real quick, before I really get into this video, I was planning on doing a review series on the channel, going through every episode of The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon. Just like how I did with The Walking Dead Dead City. The only episode I didn't do of that show was the finale. And I just didn't do it because, one, I just didn't have a lot of time. And then two, I had an idea for a video where I wanted to do the finale and a series overview, but things just didn't work out the way I wanted to. Before you know it, I just gave up on it. Maybe I'll address it again, as we get closer to season 2. Maybe when the Blu-ray comes out, maybe I'll talk about it. But anyway, I want to do the same thing with Daryl Dixon. But I realized just how taxing that was. Like I remember doing those reviews, and they just were very, very taxing. And I look, when I make videos, it's not like I'm really trying to get the most views that I can out of every video. I understand some videos are not really going to pertain to a lot of people as others, but I just felt like I'm putting in time, and I'm trying to make these videos, and I feel like they weren't really getting the type of reception that I wanted, so I just didn't do it. So anyway, but I did want to find a way to talk about The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon because it was a show that did interest me. I wasn't super excited for it, but I was definitely interested. And as we got closer to the premiere date, I was pretty damn stoked for it because I really liked what they were showing me in the trailer. It looked different. It looked fresh. And I think that's what you need in a property that's been around as long as The Walking Dead has been. So anyway, with that being said, episode 2 just came out yesterday. And I got some thoughts on it, man. And I figured, you know what? I can wrap up 1 and 2 in one video. I'm not really going to do a full-on review. I just want to talk about some things that I've noticed in this show. And as you can see in the background here, this is the thumbnail for this video. I know it just kind of looks lazily put together, but I thought it pretty much summed up what I'm about to say. So anyway, with that being said, if you like content like this, anything Walking Dead related, anything show, movie, video game, pop culture related, consider leaving a like on the video and subbing to the channel for more. We would really appreciate it. With that being said, let's talk about The Last of Us, Daryl Dixon. So, my thoughts exactly are pretty much my intro of this video. This is a blatant ripoff of The Last of Us.
Did you know that I can see you?
I'm not talking about the show. Now, yeah, there are parts of there is a spoiler warning, obviously. There is a pretty big part towards, I want to say towards like the climax of this episode that really mimics the show, which is Laurent, which is the young boy here next to Daryl in this thumbnail. Joel Daryl. His mom was infected when she had him, and she had already turned into a walker by the point they were getting him out of her. So it's kind of like the same thing with Ellie. Like, her immunity comes from being born after the mother was infected. So they're kind of doing the same thing here. It's a little different. Only thing is, we already know Ellie's immune, right? Like, we know Ellie, game or show, whatever one you follow, we know she's immune. In this show, they're very vague on if he's actually immune or not. I don't know. As of right now, I don't know if he's immune or not. This may just be a bunch of false promises, and I know there was a prophecy, and that's where I get a little foggy in my thoughts for this show. But this show is a straight up ripoff, man. I was talking to the wife this morning about it. It's blatant, man, and that's the thing. Like, with anything you watch, there's gonna be inspirations from like other things. There's gonna be other shows and movies that were inspired by another film for this particular scene. And I don't have anything wrong with that. Inspiration is fine. But when you're just ripping it off, I mean, you're straight up taking the story, the original story, and you're doing it again with characters that we know and love from a well-established product at that point. And you're just infusing this story that is, I'll admit, right? And if you're not new to the channel, you know how much we love The Last of Us over here. This is what it feels like, man. It just comes down to Daryl being the begrudgingly older guy. You know, he takes on a younger child, a younger kid, takes him across the country because they are possibly the cure. Along the way, they run into all kinds of infected and other scavengers and raiders and things like that. You have a nun who is straight up supposed to be Tess. I already predict that she's gonna die by like the third or fourth episode. And it's just it just really really comes off. It comes off as lazy. And it's not to say this episode is bad by any means. There's definitely some things that I really like, especially episode 2. I actually really enjoyed episode 2, despite it being very very copy and paste from The Last of Us. I really liked it, and that might be why I liked it, because you're taking something that's already great and you're putting it into your show, and doesn't have the same effect, but it's still good because the writing for the original content is so good. Um, but yeah, no, it's just I was talking to the wife about it. It's for being a Walking Dead fan, right? So if you're watching this, I would hope you're a Walking Dead fan. You're not here just to hate on the property in general, but as a Walking Dead fan, it's really hard to be one nowadays and to defend a series that you love, because when they do things like this, how can you defend it? They are taking an original story and just putting it in their own and saying, "Here, just take the shit, have it." And it's like, dude, it's just lazy. It's just lazy writing. I didn't even mean for this video to be a rant. It really sucks, man, that a series that was so, I mean, golly, man, the Walking Dead was a property before The Last of Us was a property. You know what I'm saying? And it really, really, really sucks that they're doing this, that they're making this so obvious. And how can the writers just be okay with this? How can they just be like, you know what? I played this great game and the story was this. How about we adapt that into a show? I find it hard to believe they did not do that. Like I said, I already know the ending of this. I know the ending is Daryl is gonna somehow get this boy to the, I think there's some Buddhist monk up north. I don't really know the details. It sounded like generic shit that I've heard before, so I don't know the details. So excuse me for that. But I know that there's some Buddhist monk who apparently is gonna aid with curing humanity. You already know when Daryl gets the boy to him, the boy's gonna have to die for them to get what they need out of his body, and Daryl's gonna have to go in there and kill everybody. You already know what they're going to do before they do it. It's so predictable, man. It's so irritating, dude. It's like I don't know. It just sucks, man. It really sucks because it's like it's if you're a Walking Dead fan, it probably gets so taxing. Hold on, you gotta give me a little sip of coffee here. Still early in the morning when I'm recording this video, so I needed to wake up a little. It must be really taxing, right? I mean, come on. Like, I know because I'm a Walking Dead fan. It's very, very taxing to keep defending something that's so shit. I mean, really. And again, not to say the show is bad. It's not bad. I love the feel of the show. Let's talk about the good. All right, let's talk about the good. I love the environments of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. I love the way France looks. I love the architecture. That beginning sequence where Daryl is like walking and walking. It looks like Death Stranding, which he's stars in. But when he's just walking and walking and you're seeing all this architecture and you're seeing like, again, I love scenery like this with the grass being overgrown and these buildings that are like, that look real run down, and you see some, walkers out and about, and he's trying to get through, and he's using the staff as like a cane. I loved all that stuff. Like I thought the music when he's walking, I thought that shit was great. Like I said, I love the scenery in this show. I think it does a really, really good job of doing it, and it really shows that this show has a bit of a budget, right? I'm not saying it's got like an insurmountable amount of money thrown at this thing, but I feel like it just has the aesthetic of a show that has a pretty high budget. But yeah, I love all that stuff. I love the Walker kills. I love the action when it's been there. I thought it's been great. I don't really have any issue with it. I've never been bored. So far in these 2 episodes, I haven't been bored. I might have laughed a little bit because it's like, this is so the Last of Us. You know what I mean? I've laughed, but I've never been bored. Daryl, to be honest with you, man, I haven't really been a huge fan of Daryl since like season 7, season 8, probably more so season 8. I just feel like he's kind of stale. He got better in season 9, 10, 11. He became more of like a leader-esque character because he kind of needed to because Rick wasn't there. But I feel like his character hasn't went anywhere in like 5 or 6 years. if not longer than that. You could probably make the argument really ever since Beth died in season 5. I think, yeah, season 5. He hasn't really been like really that much of a character. Like he's been through things, but it's just been more of like he's just there. He's kind of just like a royal follower. Rick says jump, he says how high. Um, but to me, he's kind of more or less the same here. That it was a really good scene in the second episode where all the kids had gathered around and they were watching this old ass TV show with Robin Williams in it, and Daryl's sitting on the ground next to these kids and he's like laughing with them as they're watching this episode. And you kind of find out that that was a show that him and Merle used to watch when they were little. And that was a good moment. And there's good moments like that sprinkled in here in the second episode as well. Again, I'm gonna reference the second episode a lot because it's fresh. But like at the beginning of this episode, they had the nun and it showed her before the apocalypse, before all the walkers were around, and showed her being like she was like stealing from people and she was doing drugs and partying, and then all of a sudden then just all hell broke loose and she had to grab her sister and flee. And I liked all that stuff. I like seeing the fall of humanity in a different setting. I think that I don't know why The Walking Dead hasn't explored that more. Different parts of the world, seeing the apocalypse take place, seeing the walkers all around in different parts of the world. I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. You know, focus on different characters and give me different parts of the world that I have not seen yet. Me personally, I would be really interested in that because we've seen a lot of the same shit in all these shows, and it'd be nice just to see another character go to do something different in another place. Now, obviously, their conflicts are going to be more or less the same. You're going to have pieces of shit out there. You're going to have the infected everywhere. But I think seeing different parts of the world would really benefit the series, and I'm glad they went to France in this. But it's still at like in current times of the apocalypse. I like seeing when things just first start. But that's just my preference. But yeah, I mean, you know, and like I say, I think that again, I go back to the production value. I think production value, yeah, I think it's got it. I don't think there's anything bad. I like the way it's shot. I think the way it looks. I think this is like the best looking Walking Dead show. Like the way everything pops, the way the characters look on screen, the sets. I like it. I really do like it. But the story is a straight up rip off of The Last of Us. And then look, that's really the whole subject of the video. I know I'm kind of rambling on here, and I apologize if I am, but I'd be curious to see your thoughts on The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon. I don't know. It's a tough one. I'm definitely interested. I want to see how it goes, and I'm also kind of eager to see if they're gonna keep ripping off The Last of Us. I just think that's so funny to me if that's what they continue to do. But at the end of the day, man, I love Walking Dead content, and I'm trying to stay a fan. But let me know how you guys are as far as being fans, man. It's really hard defending this franchise. It's getting really, really difficult to do because it's just when they do things like this, it's just it's hard. You can't keep defending The Walking Dead and AMC if they keep doing shit like this. Like this is copy and paste of a beloved franchise. And listen, taking inspiration from that, that's not a bad thing. Taking inspiration from something that's fantastic is never an issue. But when you're blatantly copying it, it's disgusting, man. It really is. It's disgusting. And I hate to see it. It really sucks. I thought The Walking Dead was getting back to form somewhat with Dead City. I really enjoyed Dead City, all in all. But it just really sucks this copy and shit. I do not like this, and this sucks, and I can't believe this was approved. And I can't believe people are just... Well, look, here's the thing. Because you can make the argument, right? Sorry, my nose itches. I'm not picking it. You can make the argument, right? Well, not everybody plays video games. That's fair. Everybody knows The Last of Us, though. Hell, The Last of Us just got a fucking TV show. Now, I don't think the TV show's that good, but it did just get a TV show. So, everybody knows what The Last of Us is. And even that bare bones of a show that HBO had just put out this past year, even that show has the elements from the game, at least, in some retrospect. Like, at least it goes down the timeline. This feels like that, but with just more walker kills, and it's more action, which I'm all for. And that's why I want to give the show a bit of a doubt, because I am enjoying this show more so than Last of Us TV show. I just am. And that's mostly because I've known Daryl for, golly, like 12 or 13 years now. So it's like I've been following this guy forever. But it's really hard to keep vouching for the Walking Dead property when they put stuff out like this. So anyway, that's all I got for you. Let me know what your thoughts down below. What you think of the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. Maybe we'll do more videos like this. Just depends on how this one does. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about the show as a whole. Let's see how episode 3 goes. I'm calling it, if the nun dies, the Tess of this show, if she dies, this is a straight up copy and paste of The Last of Us. And there's no other way about it. So anyway, with that being said, we'll see how this thing plays out. We'll see you in the next one. Stay dead, my friends.